Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Absolutely Anita here, and I am back with part 5 of how I was in a toxic relationship, or how I got into a toxic relationship. This part is the impact that it had on my family and children. So yeah, come on in and let's dive into this one. So being in this toxic relationship, like, I felt like it affected, my kids. I used to, like, my oldest one was not his. And then again, like I said in the previous video, he had 3 girls. Then I ended up having 2 other kids that, was his. My oldest daughter, they would really double team her. Between his girls and him, it's like he almost incited things that would get his girls to come after my oldest daughter. It's like he said little things to them, and through no fault of their own, they're kids. They tend to take on what, like the parent is saying or giving out, it became a hassle to even come home, because it's just like, we come home and then I know what we're finna get into, and, his kids attacking my child, and then he would always say, well, why do you defend her so much? Is that even a question? Like, my child, I'm gonna defend her. Like, who else is there who else is there to defend her? Like, you have your kids, and I can hear them in the other room. I can hear them, like, plotting against her. Well, if this happened, we gonna say that it's her, and we gonna blame, because they already knew how their daddy thought. So that's what they just double team, and life was just that much more harder, because you have kids that's basically suffering in it. And it got to the point where sometimes I would, really just send my daughter off to family members, just, like, to protect her. But in hindsight, like, looking back on that, that shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been where I'm giving her to, sending her with maybe, an aunt of my dad, or, what I mean, I was just not in a state where I could just leave. And in my mind, instead of just having her in there taking this kind of trauma, like, let me just send her off to family members, which, it's terrible, you know what I mean? But just, in my mind, I was just, just trying to protect her. You know what I mean? Because it was, when I tell y'all it was hell, it was, it was hell. Like, I would get off of work at 4, but at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, my mind is shutting down. Like, I'm going into depressed mode, because not only do I have to fight, I have to battle. Now I have to put my kid through that too. And then, even later on with having, my son and my daughter by him, he would even pit my daughter against my 2 young ones. Like, you teach your kids to be one with each other, to help each other out, and he would always just do things and make them do stuff against her. Like, he just had it in for her. Like, when I tell you this man was so jealous of my daughter, it did not make sense. I just never knew an adult man can have this much animosity and this much jealousy for a kid. My daughter used to say to him, because kids keep it real. it's not intentional how kids, you know, say things to you or come across to you. It's, kids are just honest. And, you know, with him being from the islands, he used to always say Amber. Now, my daughter's name is Amber. And, you know, with that accent is Amber. So, you know, as a young girl, this is a little girl. I think Amber was probably 3 or 4. And she would say, my name is not Amber, it's Amber. And he would say, well, that's your problem. He would tell her, that's your problem. I remember her getting in the car one day with us, and she ended up saying something about my dad. She ended up saying something oh, granddaddy got this boat, you know. And I remember him saying, so what, like, so what, your granddaddy got a boat, so what does that mean? Or I remember sending her off to, you know, an aunt for a weekend, you know, with the cousins. And one of my aunts had a dog. And I guess, you know, with the dog being part of the family, because lots of people's dogs are a family member. So, you know, you have people that says, oh, my dog is my child. You know what I mean? So I guess her being over there and with the pet, she came back saying, oh, this is my cousin, you know, the dog being the cousin. So I'm pretty sure my aunt and them probably said, well, you know, this is your cousin. It's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? It's nothing to really correct, or it's nothing to. So with him not understanding how people feel about their dogs, she comes home and says, oh, the dog that's my cousin. And then him and his kids are laughing. Yeah, the dog is your cousin. The dog is not your cousin. The dog is not your cousin. Ha ha ha. Why would the dog be your cousin? It's a dog. It's a dog. And I'm just like, okay, well, just let her have a moment. It's this, you know, it's something that was told to her, and she's okay with it. And he just made a big old spectacle. Like, you know what that does to, you know, to kids. And even though I'm the mom and I'm putting her in a situation my own self, you know, you don't realize, you know, the effects that has, you know. It's just like it's just so much that she had to endure. And even my youngest ones, just to hear us, because when I tell you it was knocked down fights, like I may tell y'all all this stuff that's going on, but again, I was always that one who I am going to bark back. We are going toe to toe. Just imagine 2 big people just in each other's face going toe to toe, because I never back down. Not once. I would never back down ever. And I know my kids probably used to witness that. You know, that's not easy, because when I say arguments, terrible arguments to the loudest can be, it was bad. It was bad. And again, him, you know, pitting my kids against each other when they're supposed to very well, you know, help each other. Like my daughter, you know, she was taking out some garbage. She had 2 hands, her hands was full. He was working on the car outside, you know, next to the garbage. My son was standing right next to the garbage. So she came out with 2 handfuls. I was a little bit a ways from her to even help her to open up the, you know, you have the big garbage can outside. And she came with 2 hands full. So she says, as she's approaching the garbage, she says to my son, hey, can you open up the lid for me so I could, you know, put it down, just so she didn't have to put everything down on the ground and then turn around and lift the garbage up. And then, so she was telling him, can you just lift up the garbage? He turns around, and not my son, I'm going to say him. Him turns around and tells her, like really yelling at her, well, open the garbage. Open the garbage. Why does he have to open the garbage for you? Well, why not? Why not him open the garbage for her? And it's just like, one day she, you know, so she had a bicycle. She had got a bicycle for Christmas. I bought her a bicycle. So she just so happened to be laying in the bed sleep. My son goes and takes her bicycle out. They were locked up, you know, They have a lock, a key on it, so nobody don't come and steal it. My son goes and takes the bike out to go ride it. So as it got dark, my son left the bike in the front yard. So now when my daughter gets up from sleeping, it's getting late. So he tells my daughter, he said, go get your bicycle and go put it up. She said, but I didn't have it. I didn't take it out. It's your bicycle. Go put it up. So I said, no, she's not going to put it up. She was sleeping. Why should she have to put it up? She didn't take it out. I said, my son took it out. He can go get it and put it back. So he was arguing with her. Like, he was really hard down arguing with her. It's your bicycle. You're responsible for your bicycle. Go put it back. And I said, no, you're not going to go put it back. So I made my son get up, since he took it out, to go and put it back. That was that. And I explained to my son, listen, if you take something out, especially if it's not yours, you take it out, you put it back. It's your responsibility to put it back. I guess he didn't like that. I guess he did not like that, because the next day, her bicycle was gone. The bicycle disappeared. It doesn't make sense how the bicycle disappeared, because all three of their bikes was like in a little shed with a little gate on it, with a lock on it, so nobody steals it. Her bike is the only bike gone. Don't know what happened, but I know what happened. I know what happened. You got rid of her bike trying to prove a point. You got rid of the bike to try to prove a point. And this is why, let me tell you, this stuff is real, and it affects your kids. It got to the point, like, I don't know what his angle was with her. I don't know what made him so upset with her. Like, he just had it in for her. Like, I don't know, like, kids tend to take on, how their mothers are. And like, I had a thing where I don't like raisins, and now she has a thing where, back then she didn't like the raisins, so he would get pissed off. Oh, she don't like raisins because you don't like raisins. Okay, like, he would be angry. Why is she taking that on when that's not even her for real? She's just doing it because of you. Well, most kids usually emulate their mother. But that's not right. Well, looks like you have the problem, not her. You're in an uproar, and like, this is how he was with her all the time. This is someplace that we ended up moving. He ended up asking her, hey, I need you to go inside the kitchen and wash the dishes. She didn't get up, just like a regular teenager, didn't get up right away to go wash it. And I think 15 minutes later, he came back in cussing and fussing. Like, he cussed and fussed so bad. It's like, what's the issue? Like, oh, she's disrespecting me. Okay, well, how did she disrespect you? She didn't get up to wash the dishes. I said, well, the way you're talking and the way you're coming is like she actually said something out of her mouth that was disrespectful to you. Like, you don't have to talk to her in such a manner. Like, she didn't disrespect you. She just did like any other teenager would do. Even if I asked her to, she just didn't jump up right away to go wash the dishes. So he called that disrespect. And when I tell you, he was cussing her, fussing her so bad, to the point where now, at this point now, I am making the decision in my mind to I need to get out of this situation. Listen, if you are liking this video, if you are liking the content, listen, hit the subscribe button. If you want to get the next part of the video, go ahead and hit the subscribe and hit that bell so you get that notification when the next video is going to be posted. So listen, y'all, this is the conclusion of this particular video. There is a part 6, so make sure you tuned in for part 6, and I will see you guys on the next video. So listen, if you are going through something similar, or you just have something to contribute to the conversation, listen, put it down in the comments. I would love to know what y'all think about it. You know, if you've been through it, or you know someone who is going through it, like, share the video with them. But comment below and let me know, you know, what your thoughts is. Okay, so until the next video, I will see you guys then. Thank y'all for tuning in.